Our next panel is from Decentral Art Pavilion, which is an NFT in real life exhibition. So the panel is going to be two co-founders and the curator, Florencia, Alfredo, and Javier, talking about their experience at Art Biennale in Venice this year. So give them a warm welcome.
Hello, hello. Okay. Hi, hello. Hi, hello everyone. We are Decentral Art Pavilion. We are here to talk about the experience we had this year at the Biennale, the Venice Art Biennale. I don't know how many of you know about the Venice Art Biennale because we found out that many people from the NFT space didn't know about the Biennale. So it was a very interesting experience that we want to share with you. We opened on April, and we had the Justinian Lolin Palazzo, which is an antique, very old Venice palazzo. And we had a museology. We wanted to do an exhibition where the NFT art was showcased as a real art, mainstream art. So we had a museologist creating an installation ad hoc where we talk about the concept of the connection of the trees. So we had a whole philosophy behind the exhibition, and we thought it was very important to showcase the art in a way where the art world, the traditional art world, knows how to see it and interpret the art. So we had 87 artists, the most important artists, I think, of the NFT, coming from Beeple, Trevor Jones, X-Copy, Sky Golpe, Deloris, because we had we tried to have had all the type of NFTs from 3D, generative art, like crypto, to have really like because it was very educational what we tried to do. At Venice. We were trying to have even tours for people to understand about the NFT. We had a section called 014, which was curated by Robert Alice, where we had pieces from the beginnings of the NFT. So we had the ability to tell a story, even if it's small, but to have like really try to onboard people, new comers, let's say, to the NFT world. Co-founder also Javier Krasuk, and and Curation, we have Alfredo Cramerotti. So I give the speak to Javier. Maybe you want to talk about the numbers and how we went through how many pieces we had.
Hello? Okay. Hi, everybody. Well, basically, I want to give you some highlights about the event. It was actually, I think it was extremely successful it was the first pavilion in the Venice Art Biennale, and I think it was maybe one of the first pavilions ever in Art Biennale. So we were actually really crossing the bridge, making a bridge between mainstream art and crypto art. And numbers were very high. I mean, we had 20,000 visitors. We had $150 million in value in art pieces. We had 91 million impressions that came from organic. We also had, I think, I'm missing a couple of numbers, but there's some over there. But anyway, I mean, it was extremely successful. We were very lucky in sense that we actually got Super Rare as its main sponsor. We also got Art Blocks as a main sponsor. So we had two niches that were very different. And we also had Campari, and we had Blue Swan, and we had many other sponsors as well. But I mean, in terms of art by itself, we had 2 cores, and we gave them 2 special weekends that were actually 3 days long, where all these artists, they came to Venice and they met each other. And it was a great stuff. I mean, it was a great moment for example, I remember Art Blocks. Art Blocks, it was the first time that all these artists were actually meeting in one place, and they were saying, yes, I bought your piece, and yes, I bought your piece. Oh my God, that's you. So it was actually very interesting, and we had a fantastic dinner. And I mean, the community really existed when you could feel the community when they actually meet each other. I mean, it's not about meeting them over WhatsApp or whatever. So that's one part of the event by itself. The other part that we actually discovered, in Venice, I mean, we were in the middle of an art biennale, so that's mainstream. So seeing some people, some collectors coming from the mainstream and being interested suddenly in NFTs, it was actually, we had to curate the palace in a way in which it showed art. We were not showing monitors, we were showing art. And the curation of the art, pieces that we actually got there, we dedicated a lot of time for that. And also the way in which we actually presented the pieces of art. We had to do an installation that we were not hanging monitors from the walls. That would not have worked. So we had to do something that was completely, when people came in, he actually visited the pavilion. He actually stood there for maybe 3 hours, and then we went and partied together. But when Mike came in, Mike said, I've never seen something like this. I mean, this is how, this is what I would like to see. We have to start thinking that we have arrived to a point where NFTs just went into like this incredible jump, but we have a lot to work on this to make it happen and to actually prosper. This is just the beginning of this thing. We cannot think of this, it's booming, it's going to be forever like this. If we don't work with this, if we don't work really hard on how we show the work, it's not going to last. So we have to really, and it can last a long time, and actually it can merge. It can actually be part of mainstream. Actually, I had a meeting with a collector in Milan 2 weeks ago, and when I said mainstream, he said, which one? The original one or the new one? So he was actually concerned, what is mainstream today? But that can change very fast. The same way it came in, it can go out. So we have to work on it. So that's why I think that it's very important to actually devote time to curation. That's why we have Alfredo here with us. And curation. Also, even if the artists are very known, doesn't mean that we are going to select their work for our next events. I mean, we want to curate every single piece of art that we actually have in the palace, or in the different places, because we are planning actually on doing Basel next week. This year we are not doing it. Next year we're going to be doing probably Basel, and we're going to be doing also Dubai and South Korea, and we have a lot of different plans, but we have to see how the market goes. But yes, we are going to keep it very, very, very curated. I think that's the way we want to go. Alfredo, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, no, I just hello.
I think, yeah.
So, battery thing, 1 mic in 3, that's fine. If I may add, actually, because the Venice, I think you started with Venice, which I think is an apt point, because as a curator, I did 4 national pavilion and collateral events in Venice over the last 10 years or whatever. And this one was the first time actually that NFT was presented as a pavilion, and it was actually quite an amazing feat. And kudos to you guys to have figured out a display solution in those actually spaces that it added to the content. It didn't really detract to the content, or the content didn't detract to the environment, because it's a very fine balance that you have to achieve when you can't touch walls or floors or ceiling. You can't just screw a monitor onto a wall. You really have to think about the user experience, the viewer experience, and that's where the curation actually that you did in Venice actually came into the picture, and is essential when we talk about this expansion of the art world from the traditional to the new one. It has to bring this sort of a scholarship and display solutions and curatorship into the picture is not just about actually the way actually the work sells on the marketplace, is also how the works are validated. First of all, through the peer network, obviously, because it's community building, first of all, for the artists, but also actually going from that community building to the general, actually, audience building. And that's the solution that you find and the framework you create around an NFT exhibition in real life or in the metaverse that we will see in a bit. That's what makes the difference as for the artist. First of all, and for the collectors.
Yeah, I think we don't have the right microphones. How many they gave us? Hello, okay. No, I think it's very important to be everywhere today, from the in real life and then on the metaverse. We are launching the metaverse for Art Basel. We are going to do the pre-launch now, and then all the pieces that were shown in Venice, they are also going to be in the metaverse. But it's not just any metaverse, because the things that we always care is the curation. So Javier, which is also an architect, he has a master in architecture, was in charge of creating this fantastic metaverse, which is in Unity. It has a special, I think you can see some of these pictures. It has a special look and feel, and also there we discovered that the way you perceive the artwork is different again. And we are very interested in knowing how to change, how to curate, how to perceive this new art. We don't think it's just a matter of putting it on a monitor and that will do it. We even are talking to some artists to create a special rooms where you can be more immersive into the art. So a lot of new things are coming. Everything is, of course, is new, and that's also the beauty. I want to talk a little bit also about how we work those 2 months in Venice. We had one curation, which was a Singularity, which was there for the 2 months. And then during the weekends, we did special events. So, for example, we had fashion and NFT, because we think that decontamination between all these industries is going to help, because many of the NFT artists, they come from different industries, because they were working on fashion, on sports, because many are also 3D artists. So we are giving, because it's like the blockchain is opening so many possibilities, that art is being contaminated by all these industries. So what we are doing is we created these special weekends for fashion NFT. We had Dolce & Gabbana bringing their real life pieces on top of, next to it, we had the NFT, so people could appreciate both the real object.
Yeah, so suddenly we became actually a museum at some point. I mean, there was all these guards and stuff. It was actually a lot of fun.
It was really strange to have, especially in Venice, we had like the boats coming with the mannequins. And entering the palazzo with guards, because it was like a $2 million suit from Dolce & Gabbana. It was really,
but it was actually
really funny.
Super stuff. I mean,
it was fantastic. It was fantastic. Everything is in our website if you want to see it. We have also some videos. And the other thing that we did, I think, that helped a lot, was to make a bridge between the artists that never minted and the artists that were already, let's say, digitally native artists. And we purposely put them together. Like, for example, the weekend of photography, we had photographers. That was the first time they were minting, and we had Twitter talks with them, and we put them together, and we were asking, tell us your story, what do you need? So we are really here to build this bridge and to help galleries and artists to come into the world that they come from the mainstream, basically. For them, it's really difficult. Now we are launching in Super Rare, because we also won the Super Rare spaces, and we are launching with 10 fantastic artists, women artists, Mavericks is called the collection. And we are helping them to mint, we are helping them to create the wallet, and it's also fun, and we think this is very much needed because it cannot just, if we want to be open to the rest of the art world, we need to provide these tools for artists to be able to enter the space. Then we had a special weekend for generative art.
Yeah, that was,
Sponsored by Art Blocks. We had women and NFT, photography, and fashion. Yeah.
Yeah, and we had also the night week of the art week.
The art night where we created tours. And people could subscribe, let's say, online in Eventbrite, and we will give them tours, 40 minutes tour about the whole history. And it was really nice because we did, first of all, the pieces that were like the McCoy piece, like what is considered to be the first NFT. And then we took them through the whole story, the whole path, and then because we had the Beeple piece, they could realize when the things actually boomed. And then after that, we did the tour where we explained the different technologies about NFT, how you build NFTs, if it's a 3D, what is the difference with the crypto art, what is the difference with QEii? So we had a Botto project, for example, showcasing for people to understand. We did like the whole 360, and they really appreciate that we take the time to explain, and that's really important because sometimes we think.
We also had a very interesting experience with the immersive room. We had pieces from Hakatao. And people gave us every days that we showcased during particular hours in the immersive room. And I think we showcased also Don Diablo and the Drift.
Don Diablo, Drift.
Yeah, the Drift. And Coldy was also showcased on Trevor Jones. Yeah. And it was actually interesting to see that people would have come specifically to see a particular piece that was actually announced at a certain time of the day, just to see that piece. I mean, that was like kind of like an interesting experience as well.
Because we took the time to talk about the artist, their lives. So if you are interested in people, you will come at 4, and we will have a person explaining all his story. So it was very educational.
Yeah. Also, that's something that we forgot to mention. I'm sorry, this is very improvised, as you can see. We don't want to actually make like the typical thing, but we had talks. Every single weekend, actually we had almost like every 2 days.
32 talks.
32 talks.
2 months.
During 2 months. And we had people actually coming to the palace. I mean, and we had actually IRL talks. So these talks were IRL. They were in the palace. Artists, companies, fashion industry, Art Blocks came to the palace to actually do an IRL talk. And so the palace was packed of people actually sitting there. I mean, you can see them on the monitors. And the experience of actually having a real talk, I mean, we were also hosting them in Twitter, the Twitter spaces, but the issue that they were actually being there was so unique. So, I mean, I spent a lot of time, all day long sometimes, going from one Twitter space to another Twitter space. But, I mean, it was very interesting to actually meet them because the after the meeting thing was the one thing that was making the difference, I mean, in Twitter spaces, it's one at a time, and then suddenly you meet and you are 5, and 5 of you together, it's a very different conversation. You interrupt each other, that's good.
We have 5 minutes left. Maybe we want to wrap up what's next. And
I think I want to give the
Yeah.
To me, to wrap up, no, I think we just mentioned actually the collaboration we did with XX NFT for the exhibition Mavericks. We just actually is on now, by the way.
Yes.
And you can access actually through the Decentral Art Pavilion website, and is on Super Rare Spaces.
Super Rare Spaces, yes.
And which is an interesting take on female artists. We actually talked about yesterday in another panel about this initiative. And then we have more to come, actually, more exhibition to come, and more both in real life exhibition and online exhibition.
Yeah.
Both on Super Rare and Nifty Gateways.
Yes.
Because the Central Pavilion also has a space on Nifty Gateways.
Yes,
as well.
exactly.
And then importantly, actually, I think I want to prompt that you're kind of launching today the metaverse,
Yes.
the Decentral Art Pavilion metaverse, which you have some glimpses on our back actually, because it's
Yes, it's
a whole digital sort of
it's
environment.
It's super high tech stuff. We are launching a metaverse that is basically right now is about, I think it's 50 acres. It's all ours. I mean, land is not for sale. Don't try to buy it. It's not for sale. We are not selling it. It's just for art, and it's not just for us to actually be able to showcase art. Right now, we are working on game engines for that, but basically, it's a hyper-realistic metaverse, and what we actually focus on is how we actually display art. We want to display art the same way that we display it on IRL. We want people to be able to see every single bit of it. We don't want people to just see something like fuzzy or whatever, and to have an experience for that. So we have right now we have 4 buildings. They're actually huge buildings. And we can host 400 people simultaneously right now. And for the lunch, this is the pre-official lunch. The official lunch is going to be during our Basel, Miami, at the beginning of December. And at that point, we're going to have a limited amount of people. I mean, well, unlimited is kind of like it. We are working right now on partnerships with AWS and on partnerships with Azure as well. And with Epic Games, we're going to actually do this probably in Unreal. The one that we have right now is done in Unity. And it's a big effort, because it's very new technology for doing this. Right now we're doing WebGL, but we are going to be doing Push from December. So per each user will have a computer available. I mean, basically it's going to be pushing. Right now everything relies on the browser. I mean, the whole idea is that you don't have to have a super machine or anything like that to actually get inside of our metaverse, which is going to be like super high end. Everything is going to be pushed. So.
And we want to collaborate with galleries and groups and artists. So we welcome anyone that wants to work with us and want to showcase their work, their projects. We are not selling, so we are really collaborating. So the space, we want people to engage with us and bring projects, and we want to be able to showcase the NFT world like it deserves. More quality, and in places where we can talk about your project and give it a curation, because we think now we are missing. Like, the space is missing the curation. So if a gallery or somebody after the talk wants to talk with us, we are going to be available. So please feel free to
with
join
champagne
us.
And stuff. So.
Yeah, we are open to partnership as well, actually,
Yes.
in terms of other institutions, but as a public institution or private institution, whatever, because that's the ethos of the Central Art Pavilion, is actually to make this bridge between the traditional art world and the NFT world on a quality benchmark, which is actually, it goes through the curation and the narrative we build with the artists and the galleries and the representative of them.
Yeah.
That's the key point actually for us.
Yes.
Okay.
So that if you bring a project or something, you're going to have to talk to Alfredo.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.